Well, folks, how's everybody doing today? My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Just relaxing over here. I know you guys always ask about Rudy's relaxation and pinball stuff. So today, I thought I'd reveal two more of the collection. We have ourselves one of the most famous, best engineered design playfields for this pin. And this is obviously the Godzilla. And in the corner here, we have the world famous Jurassic Park. Very infamous, and with the whole T-Rex, and can grab the pinball and everything, and it just, you got the raptors in the cages, you got kind of some sub games. Godzilla is probably still incredible, but anyways, all right, so woke up today, and then last 24 hours looks like we're having a bunch. Here comes the messages on Final Fantasy, and here comes the messages on canceled orders. So it looks like our best distributor in the United States, Alliance Game Distributors, good old Alliance, has been zeroing out hundreds and hundreds of stores on allocation of Final Fantasy. We're talking Playboxes, Commander, Collector. I mean, I've talked to multiple stores that's texted me and said, Rudy, we've been buying from Alliance for 10 years, 15 years. This is the first time they've zeroed us out on allocation. And here comes the cancellations and pre-order collapse disaster that we were hoping wouldn't be as big of a thing, but, well, it is. It is what it is. So, yikes. I'm filming this right after we did the Pokemon Destined Rivals sale yesterday, so it's a nice, calm, quiet day over here for me. And we had a very good patron launch for Destined Rivals for the booster boxes. It was a very calm, I think we made it about 15, 16 minutes before selling out of our Destined Rivals booster boxes. I only lost less than 50 patrons. It was a very successful, very good night. Everything was very relaxing, very little drama, and that's really about it for the Destined Rivals thing. But I wanted to mostly focus you guys with Final Fantasy tonight, or today, or whenever you watch the video. And that is the continuing confusion, the continuing anger of the pricing. We have our MSRPness gang being very frustrated because, well, they think the collector boxes and commander decks are a complete ripoff because of Wizards high pricing, and they are slightly over MSRP. And then, of course, the MSRPness gang is very quiet towards play boxes because they're under MSRP. So you have this, depending on what context you want to apply to the conversation, is going to dictate, how you feel about it. But with the news coming out now that we are starting to see the massive waves of pre-order canceling, I don't know how many messages I've gotten so far yesterday and today of people just frustrated. I mean, so I've had some long-term patrons that were like, I requested 6 boxes of Final Fantasy Collector from 5 different stores. I paid as little as $500 a collector box. I even paid $600, $650, $700. I even locked in collector boxes at $750 with another store, and people just saying was all their orders were cut to 1 box, or they were just zeroed out and refunded. And of course, you go back to then the internet turns around and says, well, here we go. LGSs get interest-free loans before they cancel payments. So all of that's happening right now. I guess first we'll start with the play boxes of Final Fantasy. We're still a couple weeks away. Play boxes on the open market now are like $175 plus tax. So they're like $190 ship for a play box. Now, some people feel this is outrageous. Some people feel that this is a good deal. Usually, in my opinion, play boxes should be about, a third to maybe half the price of a collector box. So I still personally think, and I've said this from the beginning, I think any Final Fantasy play box is below $200 a box, I think is a fair thing. Now, obviously, collector boxes of Final Fantasy, because we have the serialized cards, we have some of these crazy surge foils and super flashy cards, and some other probably subsets or variants that are only available in that, the numbers may not line up as normal as comparing maybe like a Bloomborough box to a Bloomborough collector box, that kind of thing. Or, Wildsville Drain draft or set compared to a $500 Wildsville Drain collectors. Usually the set and draft or play box, again, is less than half of a collector. That's why I said 30 to 50%. But, when you see $700, $800 collector boxes, and the play boxes, even right now. You don't have to be a Rudy patron. I'm not going to show for you anything. Even now, if you go online, even if you pay the full $190 and support an LGS and TCG player, like, I don't think $190 is I don't think that's a ripoff. Like, I don't feel that that's really that, big of a conversations point. I mean, sure, it's not, I can't get you guys the 118 shipped Rudy playbox price like I am for, Foundations, Bloomburrow, Dusk, OJT, and every, But I mean, for Final Fantasy, a specialty set that's premium priced, I mean, I don't think that's really that bad. I mean, stores are being charged like $300 for collector boxes, and like what, $125, $135 for play boxes, $130 depending on the volume you're buying. Like, I don't really think the numbers just don't seem that bad to me. But I know that's not the cool thing to say and do right now. The exciting thing and the cool kid narrative right now is to be very angry, be angry at Hasbro Wizards for the high prices. But now that we're starting to get the waves, see, I always talk about this every time we get the waves of cancellations, because it's not, the impact is far greater than people understand. Like, you gotta understand, if 1,000 people get canceled on pre-orders nationwide, some of you are going, wow, who cares? There's millions of people who buy this stuff. Well, the thing is, you're taking 1,000 people that thought they already had products locked in and weren't going to come back to the market because they're like, I'm set, Rudy. I already got my boxes. I got a collector box. I got a commander. I'm already done. And now suddenly all these people who thought they could just relax, you have 1,000 more people, or maybe thousands, that all of a sudden now are in panic mode last minute because now they have no product. Now you have some LGSs, I would easily say hundreds of LGSs at this point, that are probably going to get allocated 0 or get like 1 case of 6 boxes or something. And I'm sure some of these stores probably pre-sold a month ago, and I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to pre-sell 3 months in advance, and all these things. And now all of a sudden, all this stuff that's been in place is now been reversed, and all these stores and customers are now going to be pushed on top of the demand that's already happening. As we saw, we saw a TCG player run a special for the play boxes. They moved like 5,000-6,000 play boxes, and they did $145 plus tax. So people paid $160 ship for play boxes and panic bought almost 6,000 of them in less than a day. It ran out before the full day even ended on the promotion of TCG player. Like, that's crazy. Like, play boxes, not the commander, not the collector. Like, I consider the bundles, the collector and the commander are going to be the rarest. I know it's crazy to say that. They're going to be the rarest variant compared to the play boxes. And even then, the regular play box, everybody just wants the product. Everybody's excited. But, you go on the internet and all you'll see is just all of this emotion. But I'm sorry, everybody. The set looks fucking awesome. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. Millions of you guys are big Final Fantasy fans. There's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fans of Final Fantasy that have never even bought Magic, which is what Hasbro's hoping, that are going to buy this Final Fantasy product. I mean, they made it strong. They loaded the product to make sure that there was no collapse risk or Baldur's Gate risk or Commander Matt. They loaded the product. They printed a ton of it. We've talked about it. Look what they've done. We have shortages on Tarkir play boxes, Bloomburrow play boxes, Foundation. I still have a limit of 1 Bloomburrow $118 box for patrons per month. Now, every month you can get one with, mix and match the other stuff, but I can't even offer cases of it because I've got 1 pallet and I'm getting like 100 orders a day, and I got to keep slowly drifting it out just to try to keep it in stock. Same thing with Foundations. And honestly, Karlov, Duskmoor, and Thunder Junction, and Aether Drift's going to 0, is still doing pretty good. And, I think we're in for a lot more turbulence, everybody. I think we're in for a lot more price volatility. And I just think I don't think the internet and social media properly reflects the positivity and the excitement and demand towards this stuff. Just before I end this video, just a short, simple thing. Like yesterday when I ran my Destined Rivals sale, okay? And I was like, wow, TCG player, $265 plus tax. People are paying $285 shipped for Destin Rivals all day long, a TCG player. I literally went from $285. I said, you know what? Let's just do a fair price to patrons. I took off, what does that come out to? I took off $45 a box. So instead of $285 times 2, whatever that comes out to be, what is that, 500, 530? All I did was chop off like $80, sell 2 packs, and I blew through my whole thing in 15 minutes. And it's interesting to see what most people think and feel. When I run the sales, or I actually sell the product, like I can tell how people truly feel about the product. All the he said, she said emotions, and I'm doing this, I'm voting, Rudy, I'm never buying Pokemon above MSR penis. Whatever you say is great. And I respect your opinion. Don't buy it. No big deal, man. Let's all just move on and hold hands and get some waffle fries. But when these sales and these events, and we go past release day, and we see the restocks and reprints, and I see what happens, and then the data reveals the truth. Not what I think, not what you think, not the aggressive behavior on social media. The data always reveals the truth. And when the data comes out that over 1,000 Destin Rival boxes get pumped to patrons, and I blow out in 15 minutes, if I had allowed more orders than 2, but if I had sold by the case, I would have oversold and probably sold 10,000 boxes and just oversold, been a disaster. Like, that tells me everything you need to know. There's nothing else that matters on all the videos, the PokeTubers, the finance stuff, the I'm quitting Pokemon, the battles, the attacks towards all the LGSs, the attacks towards each YouTuber. None of that really means anything. When we get down to it, the only thing that Rudy lives and dies by is the data. And the data does not show a sign of slowdown. The data shows absolutely zero reduction or reversing of people rejecting at least the $239 price I sold it for. I see absolutely zero people backing off and being upset. I lost 40-something patrons, so under 50. So again, very successful. But there are some people always going to be angry, and there are some people out there that are allowed to be angry and miserable. And bless those people. We always need unhappy people in the world. But for the other 99%, the market continues to tell us it feels the products are worth it. People believe it's going to go higher. And no matter what really you and I feel, there is not a Pokemon bear market anywhere near in the near term. The Final Fantasy Magic thing does not appear to be collapsing, reversing. And, it is very interesting to see, I believe, Destin Rivals, when it came out, Journey Together came out, and it peaked at 260, 270. And Journey Together was the bad set, and it dropped all the way to today to what, 220? I guess add tax, 230. It dropped 20% from the highs. And that's deemed the weak bad set. And I'm honestly, I don't know, $200 Journey boxes may still probably not be a bad entry point in cost basis. And then I see Destin Rivals. Boy, it's windy outside. Then I see Destin Rivals, which is mutually agreed upon, everyone I've ever talked to and everything I see online, is a better set than Journey Together. And the price is almost the same as Journey Together, but it's apparently a better set. And if that holds true going the next 3 to 6 months, unless they print hundreds of thousands of boxes and distributors are forced to sell at the old price and everything goes backwards, I don't see why these things don't stay the same or go higher. Sure, in the short term, we may have some, short-term 10% up and down swings, but none of that really matters to people who have, actual intelligence and long-term perspectives. And I guess it's just been, the next few weeks are just so fascinating for me as an analyst to watch this stuff, because the next 2-3 weeks kind of put everyone's conspiracy theories and everyone's perspective. Everything gets put to the test now, because the data is going to reveal who's right and wrong. As we go through the Destin Rivals release, as we go through the Flesh and Blood release next, then as we go to Final Fantasy, The amount of people willing to spend, the spend rate, the excitement, and what people vote with their wallet is the true attitude of the market. And that's when I'm always excited to report back to you guys, because that tells us the truth. Nothing else I can say, nothing else you guys can listen to and go on the social media. What are the websites called? The X porn site? No, Twitter. X? Triple X. Whatever. Any of these websites you go to, you can listen, take advice, watch videos. You can watch any hype stuff, positive, negative. I'm skipping the set. It's all bad. Don't buy Final Fantasy. Don't buy this. Don't do that. But when we hit these release moments, everything doesn't matter anymore. All the speculation, the thousands of videos, well, it's over with. Because once the market hits, the product releases, well, the market tells us who's right and wrong. And based on what I'm seeing so far on Destined Rivals, that shit is not going to collapse. The demand and the excitement is just way too high. I mean, it's definitely stronger than Journey Together. And the excitement and the people wanting it and the attitude towards it is definitely better than the last Pokemon set. And that does not align with we've already peaked in Pokemon and reversing. And over the next few weeks, as we approach this Final Fantasy thing, now that we're finding out what's going on with, obviously one of these distributors, what's happening with the accounts, how many people are getting zeroed out, and, we're going to see a lot of people returning to market that weren't there 2 weeks ago to buy Final Fantasy because they missed out. And my advice to you all, I'd be nice and respectful to stores, to employees, and honestly, everybody's just emotional about it because everybody's very passionate. Has anyone stopped to think, if nobody really cared, you wouldn't see any dramatic videos. There would be no clickbait titles. The videos and the clickbaits make money. The views equal money on the internet. That's the currency of social media. But if nobody liked Final Fantasy and nobody cared, most of the spoilers, if not all of them, are out now. By the time you watch this video, collector boxes of Final Fantasy could collapse back to $400. But it's not a chance. Every time I see a store list Final Fantasy collector boxes for $650, $680, $700, they're blown out. Doesn't even last a day. And every time people say, "Oh, Rudy, don't touch the Playboxes. They're going to print 1 billion. They're all going to be worthless, everything." And I'm seeing just unbelievable. I've never seen in my entire cardboard, puny little Florida man, nut-tastic fucking little puny life of Florida man, I have never seen demand of what we are seeing with Final Fantasy. And that's the only thing I'm going by. Past that, if you think $750 Final Fantasy boxes and TCG Player are a ripoff, don't buy them. That's all I have to say. But I'll see you guys on YouTube in the future when Final Fantasy collector boxes are $2,000 a box and they're competing with Lord of the Rings. I'll be here to discuss it with you all and to see what kind of lessons we can learn. But remember, Rudy's always wrong, and I'm sure it's all going to collapse. Hope you all have a beautiful day. As always, I'm going to relax another hour.